Welcome back. Today being a Monday, we delve into matters, perspective, and more so on security issues. Well, Kenya, to be honest, has had various security challenges. And last year, gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, last year, the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Fred Matiang'i, said the private security firms are going to be issued with firearms. Well, that is the issue we're going to discuss today. And on my immediate left, I'm joined by Isaac Andabwa. Isaac Andabwa is the Secretary General of the Kenya National Private Security Workers Union.
Yes.
And we have George Musamali, who is a security expert. Gentlemen, karibuni, and thanks so much for coming.
You too.
First things first. Yeah. Kenya security firms are not allowed by law to carry guns. But in Uganda, we've seen security firms, our neighbors here, Uganda. Is it time overdue, or is it at the right time?
I think for me, I'll go deeper than that. First, I don't know why Uganda actually had to give the guns the guns. But I want to take the Kenyan perspective.
Yes.
Because those are two different scenarios. Now, for me, before I answer your question, what is the role of the private security officer in the country? It is about only two issues, to protect life and property.
Yes.
So if you are to protect life and property, what is the best tool of trade? And in fact, I also want to say there is a bad perception from the public. We magnify the issue of arming the cards, but we should not talk about arming of the cards. We need to say tool of trade.
Okay.
What tool of trade requires for a particular private security officer to use while on duty? Now, if the primary mission of a private security officer is to complement national security agents in actually taming insecurity, and we have seen loss of life, like maybe Westgate, you know what happened there?
Yes.
The private cars were the first person on the line of defense, and we lost many cars there.
Yes.
Secondly, you saw recently the Dusit Hotel.
Yes.
Now, what we are saying, if a private security officer undercover has a gun or a right tool of trade on that assignment, not actually those ones who are opening the gates.
Yes.
Somebody must have that tool of trade relevant to particular assignment undercover. Then he can deter or react to threats who are actually trying to assess the targeted place. So by deterring or by reacting, the card will alert the other security agents for intervention, because a security issue is about how fast do you respond to actually to reduce the casualty. Yeah.
You're a security expert, and Kenya, it's true, Kenya private security guards are the ones who responded fast. We had Westgate and also the Dusit, and they really helped to save a lot of lives. You're a security expert. Is it the right time?
You've talked about Uganda.
Yes.
And I think, as Mr. Andabwa said, these are two different scenarios. In Uganda, not all security companies arm their guards. Very few of the Ugandan private security companies have accepted that bit of arming their guards. And how did Uganda get to that point? I think there was something we called demobilization. When the NRA took over, we had so many child soldiers, we had so many people that were fighting on the side of the NRA. And when they started reorganizing their army, they felt like we should demobilize some of these people and remove them from the army. So how do we utilize these people? They have the gun culture. In Kenya, we don't have a gun culture. So we can't just let these people out, and at the end of the day, they become a security risk. So how do we engage them positively? Let's arm them, let them be employed by private security companies, and then let's arm them so that we know where they are, we can keep track of these people. That is how you find that it's only Uganda in this region that is arming private security guards. But when it comes to Kenya, yes, we've seen incidents. We had the Westgate, we had the Dusit, and you'll find that, as he has said, always the first responders are always security guards. But my thinking is this: how do we get to that point? I think we should be proactive. I think better security is intelligence-based. Because if we are talking about terrorism, when we arm our guards, it's easy for them to deter the common robbers that we witness around. It's easy for them to deal with muggers. Yes. But when it comes to organized terrorism, even arming is not a solution. Because these people do what we call pre-operational surveillance. Yeah, they identify a target. The second time they will come do pre-operational surveillance. What security measures are in place? Access control systems, yes, they have biometric systems. How do people get in and get out? How is the security in that place? How well organized are they? Do we have police on site? Are the guards armed? So when they go now to the third stage of planning, they plan with what they have. So even if we arm our guards with AK-47s, remember even in Uganda, they don't have automatic rifles. When these people will come prepared for what they're going to face. So I think what we should think about as a country is preparing ourselves, being proactive. Let's have intelligence-based security, such that you can be able to identify a threat before these persons come out and carry out an attack. Arming to some point will assist, but I don't think it's going to be a solution to the current problem that we have in the country.
Do we have any guards who are armed in Kenya? Because I've seen private security firms, mostly diplomatic missions, have their own private security guards who are armed right here in Kenya. Do we have our very own who are armed?
Yeah, before I come there,
yes, I
want to remind my brother, there is no professionalism without first undergoing a certain particular training. So the fear of actually the issue of arming the guards is rotating about training. But what I want to tell my brother is this. This is not the challenges that now security order globally, not only in our country, the issues of Al-Shabaab and the terrorist activities, you see, you cannot contain such a like thing using the rungu that the guards have, because you cannot protect an individual before first you protect yourself. So if we talk about not arming the guards, yes, what are we thinking about the life of that person who is guarding? So security is about yourself first before you protect somebody else. So I want to tell my brother, the authority now, under Fazul, we now have an act of parliament which talks about training. And you see, training is essential. There's nobody who can become a doctor without undergoing training. There is nobody who can be a teacher without undergoing training. So what we are saying in that authority regulation, it is clear that now there is reforms that are taking place in the country. Even when Dr. Matiang'i was talking about arming the guards, he's not talking about arming every guard in the Republic of Kenya. Yes. Remember, across the country, we are having around 500,000 guards. Yes. We are maybe 3 times than the security agents in the Republic of Kenya. Now, you see, it will also be advantage of the country, what we call cost effective. When you invest in these private guards, officers, in terms of training, we will not have this problem of actually employing police officers every now and then. Yes. Then they serve temporarily, then they also they look for other private ventures. What we are saying, the private security industry in the Republic of Kenya must be professionalized. And how do we do it? Through an institution. So we must have an advanced kind of curriculum that is going to empower these guys in terms of how to handle a particular tool of trade. Let's not talk about the issue of the guns. In security, my brother should tell us, there are a lot of tools of trade. You can even use a radio talker, you are communicating to a certain person. What he talks about, the intelligence, gathering information, the best intelligence is from the public, it's not from the police. Because when somebody sees a police with the uniform, he touches the police. And when the police actually passes across, he's doing some crimes behind the police. So what we are saying, the public, the private security officers, they're set up, they are mingling with the public. And they are very much easily accessed to intelligence information. And in fact, I can even attest to this show, that 80% of the security of this country is in the hands of private security, not police. We complement the national security agents by reporting through control rooms and so forth. So what we are saying, it is overdue. Why? He's talking about deterrence. You interfere with that surveillance of a terrorist, because as much as a terrorist, you'll have to surveil a particular asset or target. Also, the people are on the ground, because myself, I'm also an expert. I used to work with the US Embassy. I know what surveillance means. I was one of them expert. So the surveillance STD behaves the same way like a terrorist. And when he's collecting information on a particular target, you will be able to recall this person as a bad guy. And you can inform to a particular authority. Then before he comes in to hit the target, you'll have already take control of that person. So what we are saying, if we have cars armed, they are going to deter, they are going to disrupt. Even the planning of the terrorist will change the setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps back to you. Let's look at the reforms or the changes that are necessary. Of course, the training is there, but there are other factors that have to be looked into, or like the arming, to know exactly who are supposed to be armed.
Maybe that,
and perhaps, okay.
Maybe that would want to pick from there. I also want to reiterate. We are not saying we are going to arm every car. Yes. What we are saying, there are specific assignment. You see what I'm telling you, a tool of trade determines what type of tool of trade somebody is supposed to be given. It goes to what you are asking. Like, for example, you are having what we call a cash in transit. You are transporting millions of money from this particular point to this particular point. Now, you find the cars are also having complementing with the police. Then along the way, the money disappears. Who becomes the first suspect? Is the private security officer who is having a rungu. And the police who is having a gun, and the money disappeared while he was there, is left scot-free. So what we are saying, the police can take other roles under new arrangement. You see? And we are talking about having arming of the guns in which assignments? Like, for example, malls. Somebody goes to church and shoots innocent people in the name of terrorists. Somebody goes to a mall, a shopping mall, shoots the customers. Somebody goes to where we have a high human traffic, you see? That's what we are saying. So we will not give every person in the sector guns, no. There are selective assignment, which will be scrutinized, properly vetted, and even at the issue of who is supposed to be armed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps to you, George, there are laws that are supposed to be followed or amended. For example, the working condition of these workers. Perhaps also, Kenya is grappling with the issue of firearms in civilians. Are there any laws that are supposed to be amended?
Definitely, there are laws that are supposed to be amended, and I think that has been pushed to Parliament, because currently the Constitution as it is does not allow arming of private security guards.
Yes.
And I think it's a bill that is in Parliament waiting to be passed by the MPs, and then definitely we'll move to that stage of arming the guards. When it comes to issues of training, as Mr. Andabwa is talking about here, I've been a trainer. I trained in the GSU for more than 7 years. I was an instructor there. And then when I left the service, I was also a trainer in these private security companies. I trained in KK. And before I started my own business, I was a trainer at G4S. So I understand that concept of training the guards and also training policemen. So this issue that we're looking at, I think we need to look at it in a wider perspective. What benefits are we going to get by arming the guards? I'm not saying that we're not going to arm that, because at the end of the day, you'll find that when Matiang'i was talking, he was saying that we want to reduce the pressure from the police, so that those policemen that are now being deployed to manage banks, officers that are being deployed to do cash in transit, and officers that are also being deployed for VIP protection will be removed, so that they can do their core business of protecting the public, so that these other people, these other businesses can be managed by private security companies. Well, that's well said. But at the end of the day, how are we going to manage this? You've pointed out very clearly that we have so many firearms in the wrong hands in this country. Yes. Our borders are porous. Proliferation of firearms from Southern Sudan getting into the country. Proliferation of firearms from Somali getting into the country. Now we're adding another group of people. There, we are going to professionally train them. How will we manage that? I'm looking at this aspect from even look at what we are doing in northeastern Kenya, look at what we are doing in the North Rift, where we have banditry, we have cattle rustling. We've said that let's arm the KPR. Yeah. We've armed the KPR. So has that stopped banditry? No. Because we are taking the wrong approach. The strategy is not working for us. We need to rethink about this whole strategy. We should have started with first looking at this private security guard. Let's look at their welfare. how many people are going to afford? Because definitely if you arm a guard, he will come at a different rate from the current one.
Yes.
How many people, how many companies will be willing to pay that rate? How are we going to maintain this guard? Andabwa is the Secretary General. He'll agree with me. The turnover in the private security companies is so high. I was in G4S for 6 years. The number of people that were getting in and getting out is so high. We have young men who join the companies because they feel like there's nothing else I can do out there. This is the only job that is available for me. Within a very short time, this person gets another job. He leaves. Yes, we've trained them. They are handling firearms. Yeah?
Yes.
When he leaves, how are we going to manage that person? How are we going to monitor this person? For example, some of us who are in the services, the government is having problem even monitoring what Msamali is doing currently. Yeah?
Yes.
I have been demobilized. I'm out here. How would you manage me? I think there are so many challenges. I'm not saying it's wrong to arm the guards, but have we dealt with the core issues that will make it safe for us to arm these guards? As I say, how are these companies going to manage these people? Yes, they will do CIT, well and good. They will do bank security, well and good. After that, what happens? So I think that this concept, I'm not saying that it's a wrong concept. It's good. But I think we need to rethink about the whole thing. And I don't agree with that school of thought that arming these guards is going to deter serious crime like terrorism. And as I've said, these terrorists are always 2 minutes ahead of security. They will plan for you. And even arming the guards, at some point, if you look at it critically, it's going to expose them to danger. If it's Msamali who is planning a crime, I'll know this guard is armed with a self-loading rifle. Yeah? I'll come armed with an AK-47. Look at the rate of response in Kenya. You hear a shooting somewhere, it takes more than 40 minutes before the first responders who are the police arrive at the scene.
Okay.
Dusit was well, because we had police at the scene. And that did not deter the terrorists. Yeah. We have the bank of the Prime Bank that was there.
Yes.
It had armed policemen.
There's Australian
Embassy.
Yes.
High Commission. Yes. We have GSU there. So when these guys came to hit the Dusit, they knew very well. Okay. We have these officers there. So I think we need to have a proper strategy of how to deal with serious crime. Not just saying, wholesale, let's arm the guards. It's going to deter. It will act as a deterrence, yes, true. But it will not stop.
Let's come to the resource itself, as you add on that point. Yeah. We've had even so many crimes of passion, people stabbing other people, people shooting. We've had cases of private gun owners shooting other people. Might we be adding a little bit more problem, bearing in mind there are so many people who have guns which are not licensed, and now we are adding another problem.
Even licensed?
Guns. Yes.
Okay. Even licensed.
Okay, I think let's deal with the issue of arming the guards. Yes. Because the licensing issue.
But you can't.
I want to explain something there.
You know, we are adding guns
there. The issue of licensing is properly captured in the Act, who is supposed to be armed. And remember, there is also the Arm Act.
Yes.
Which is in existence.
Yeah, the Firearm Act.
The firearm is there.
Yes.
And the people are having arms. And you remember what happened at the Westgate and also the Dusit. Those people in civilians did a good job. Yes, even the police before they arrived. Yes. And nobody should refuse that fact.
Yes, true.
Two, my brother is worried. You see, I was wondering what is his background, but he's telling us he came from the police. The people have been against arming the private security at the police. Reasons? Once you arm the police, the private guards, the police will be totally reduced to almost zero. Why? In terms of our ability on the ground, maybe we can talk about even the plantations, construction of the road, the cars are there. So we have been having that friction between the police, national police, and ourselves, with the same lame excuses. You see, even America, people shoot others in the hotels and so forth, even the families. Is it because of professionalism or training? No. That's a social issue. So what I'm saying, even the other day, last week, we had the police, the deputy OC in Mombasa. He did what? He shot some people in the bar.
In the bar, it's true.
Is that about training? Isn't that a police? Is that a private security officer? Last December, we had also another OCS in Naivasha shooting against people with a gun. So what we are saying, the guns are not going to be allowed, the guns are not going to be allowed to be carrying bundukis in Kibera where the slums where they stay. What we are saying, there are companies which are doing a very nice service to the public, like KK. It's an American entity. If they are having proper training, personnel there, people have gone to school, we will have what we call armory at the place of the interest.
The place of work.
Not to keep the workers. Remember, today, we are what we call the dog handlers. These are private security officers, and they're doing a very good job. Where do they keep the dogs after serving them or serving the public? You take the dog where it's supposed to be kept. So what we are saying, the cats will not be allowed to be carrying guns home. We are going to request G4S to have an armory. We are also going to request the KK, for example, to have an armory. And not every employer. There are employers in the Republic of Kenya who do not agree that we give them guns because of the training, poor training, and we don't have a standardized curriculum in the Republic. And I want to thank the Matiang'i Interior Ministry with FAZU. They have come up with a very nice curriculum for the same purpose. Because when we invest in knowledge and skills, then we are there. But
perhaps you are the secretary.
Instance of maybe shooting, whatever, that is a social issue.
Okay,
perhaps
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
You are the Secretary General of the Kenya National Private Security General.
I want to go to the issue of welfare of the workers.
Yes, that is
because you cannot give somebody who is hungry a gun. He might misuse that gun. Even the police have been doing the same thing.
Yes.
Because police with the cars, they're not different. They're doing the same job.
You see, Mr. Andabwa, I've not been arguing.
Gentlemen.
What I want to say,
yes,
the Section 9, Section 9 of the Act gives the authority powers to determine the rates, what the guard is supposed to be paid, and what the client is supposed to be paid. Like me, I've had a lot of problem in terms of enforcing minimum wage. Reasons, there are a lot of briefcase companies who are being given contract by the government, which is a serious mistake. Now, we are saying through the Act, through Section 9, the CEO is going to, the authority is going to determine the rates of the client to pay the contractor, so as the card to be properly remunerated.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. We hope at least all these issues are going to be looked up, and actually being a union of issues, maybe there are plans that you guys have already put in place just before the Firearms Act is amended to contain the private security companies. Yeah. Perhaps to touch on some of the comments on social media, I had checked them out. Some people, yes, they bear the greatest brunt in terms of attack. Imagine looking straight into the barrel of a machine gun, and all you have is a rungu. Yeah. Somebody said, I remember Nakuru Town West MP saying, opposing the move, saying this will increase the number of guns in civilian hands. And his sentiments were echoed by Lugali MP Ayub Savula, who suggested a mandatory 6 months training for the guards and also improve on their working conditions, because Kenya is already grappling with firearms that already are in illegal. Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming.
Maybe the last one.
We are just out of time. Yeah. Maybe we can open a longer time for
the issue is not whether to arm them or not.
Yes,
the issue is how, who, when, and what.
Okay, yeah. I'm quite sure you're going to be looking into that too. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming, but we are pressed for time. And that's where we put a cap on Perspective for today. Fiona Shuru is up next with business news.